Okay, we are now recording. What's up, everybody? My name is Juwan Rohan, and this is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. I'm sitting here with Jimmy and Brian, co-founders of Cloud Castles. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Thank you. Jimmy, can't quite hear you, but we're doing real well. I'm in Miami right now, and Jimmy is in the Bay Area, California.
Nice. What are you doing in Miami? I'm sure it's beautiful out there and everyone is out.
It's actually a little rainy, but other than that, it's kind of on the wrong week. We actually I'm out here for work. Jimmy and I work on a company called Cloud Castles, which is a mobile app that you can get at the App Store for an iPhone, not quite on Android. So sorry for the Android users, but we have a web app coming out soon. And so we're setting up a Cloud Castle house out here.
Oh yeah, you guys just I think I talked to Jimmy about it a couple of weeks ago, but you guys just purchased that house like 2 weeks ago, right? Very, very soon.
So we're in the not 2 weeks, so it's been a little bit longer than that, but
Okay.
We're in the process of getting it up and running here. So we can get it live hopefully by the end of August. Be live on Airbnb.
Nice. That's super cool. Are you guys running your own? We'll get into the more logistics, but are you guys doing your own Airbnb? Like you have your own account with you two and you guys are doing the property management under you guys?
That's correct. Yeah.
Man, how do you have time to do all of that and manage Cloud Castles? Like trying to find more people for Cloud Castles. That's a lot.
So they're pretty intertwined, right? So Cloud Castle is just 30,000 foot view of what it is. Basically, it's an app you can jump in and buy a portion. We call them shares, like snackable shares, or like actual ownership of real estate of one of these Airbnb properties, which we call Cloud Castle. So basically, you buy a portion of that on the app, and that entitles you to a cut of the revenue based on how much you invested. Any appreciation of the home, so like let's say the home doubles in value in the next 5 to 10 years, which is pretty standard in the US, then you're entitled to that appreciation of the home. And then lastly, any of the tax benefits of owning real estate you're entitled to. That's all through the app. I
didn't know that. I did not know it was you get tax benefits and the appreciation. I thought it was just the Airbnb income. That's amazing. So we could kind of look at this as like a stock, right? The house is a stock and people can buy shares of that stock. Correct?
Yeah, I think it's like multi-owner is another way to look at it. Stocks are like, their own reputation. Basically, you're part owner. So if you go in, a few clicks on the app, you're a part owner of the house. And so you do own some of the Airbnb revenue is entitled to you. And then another benefit, which a lot of folks like, is you can actually stay at the property too during off season, or you can even use a discount to stay. So, what's the best part about owning a house? In my opinion, the best part about owning the house is going, especially if it's a vacation home, is to go there and kick it and just hang out. And it's Miami, like Tahoe, or any of our other locations. That's the benefit of owning real estate in my mind.
This sounds so much better than a timeshare. Timeshare is a money grabber, right? It's a scam. But this sounds so much better than that because you're actually owning the house and being able to benefit off of the perks, taxes, appreciation, which especially in today's world, houses are appreciating rapidly. So that's amazing. Let's go ahead and start from the very beginning. Thank you for explaining the app and how it works. And obviously we'll get into it, but let's start about you two. Jimmy, how did you guys meet?
We've known each other for over a decade. We both graduated from UC Berkeley, go Bears. And, we obviously stayed in touch over the years, and we both working in the tech industry, saw that there were a lot of holes in real estate, especially given the fact that, for one, it's very expensive to get into if you don't have the capital on your own. And then two, there's a lot of ways that you can build in technology to help make real estate a little bit more efficient. And so that's why we took our tech backgrounds and then came together a little bit over a year ago now and built Cloud Castles.
Nice. That's lovely. So go Bears. I'm from Berkeley. Grew up. I went to Berkeley High, which is right down the street, and partied a lot at Cal. Probably when you guys were there. So that's amazing. Definitely love Berkeley. So you guys met at college, stayed in contact. What kind of like shifted the mindset of like? Were you guys already talking about what like a business adventure you guys can do together? Like how was Cloud Castles created on the spot, or was it a work in progress?
It's a few different threads here. Like it was actually, so me and Jimmy actually became friends through a trip to Lake Tahoe
Okay.
when we're actually in Cal. And so we kind of always had this like vision of, getting a bunch of friends, and what if we stayed at a property, but what if we could actually own the property and get all the benefits of having the property, like the income, and then use it when we want to. So we kind of had this dream to do that when we were, hanging out in college. Fast forward a few years. I actually, it's funny you mentioned timeshare, because that's actually the industry we want to ultimately disrupt, or, ideally, it should go
Dismantle.
the way of the dodo, because it's honestly
Take it all down.
yeah, it's a terrible investment, and it's kind of a scam. So we want to be the opposite of that in basically every way. So we found about timeshare, and real estate's just so, and I think it's a part of like this American dream, if you can still call it like that's still a thing, but like, having property that you own, and getting value adds from that, and having something that appreciates and works for you,
Yep.
is really what wealth creation is about. So there's a lot of thrown here, but me and Jimmy, basically I came up with the idea and I started working on the app, and then Jimmy, we worked a long time, and we have a lot of mutual trust and understanding. So he's a really good co-founder to bring board. And so we launched the company basically at the start of this year, after I've been working on the app for a little bit. And so all the code is, built in-house here. And that's kind of how we started.
So you guys coded it together?
Jimmy provided valuable insight.
And you're the coder?
And
I take any credit for the code. Brian, all that credit.
Yeah,
for sure. That's cool.
But if you don't need to code, I'm sure a lot of your audience has thought about doing like an app or technology. You don't necessarily need to code. If you can hire someone online for pretty cheap, and get an MVP out. I just have a background in the tech industry, so I was able to code.
Yeah, my the guy I just interviewed before, we were just talking about app design, and I was telling him how right now I want, I kind of want to do like an app for the Misguided. And have this like huge vision, right? Just like you did. So I might have to hit you up, Brian, when you have some time away from Cloud Castles. Might have to code for me.
Sure.
But yeah, no, that's super cool. Story, and just like, yeah, you're right. Like timeshare is just such a scam. Like in the way your business model, at least from what I know or have heard, it just seems so much better and more let's say attractive to the people who want to invest, right? So starting an app, it must be super hard. Does it require lots of funding? Does it, I mean, obviously you were able to create it yourself, but going behind starting a business, right? Purchasing the houses, does it require a lot of funding? How do you get started?
Yeah, so it is. I mean, real estate is one of the most cost-intensive kind of things you can do,
especially now, man.
especially now. So yeah, we do. So there's two parts to this. Like, there's a software side, which is like really cheap. Any of your listeners who want to get into software, it's one of the like the greatest spots to be an entrepreneur, because for very little you can essentially change the world, honestly. So for very little input, if you build the right code. Ours is a mix of like that in-person buy, and then we have a technology layer on it. So we do buy the houses outright, and then we basically get bought out slowly. So as we buy a house, and then we get bought out of that property, we manage it on behalf of the users, and then we take that lump sum that we just got bought out and apply it to another house. So that's basically our flywheel of how we grow. We basically bought one house and then use that kind of continually get bought out of each of the following properties, and we just keep a margin there. Make it, our users still have a good return, and just try to allow us to be a managing partner.
So how many users does it, or users, I don't know if that's the correct way, investors, let's say, does it take for you to be bought out of the house? So let's take that Tahoe, your first property. How many people does it take to invest in that house for you to be bought out?
Well, you can buy a portion of the house for as little as $15. So you'd own about 0.01% of the profit, but it's $15. So you don't need much to get in there. We want to actually go for most folks who never even thought about buying real estate, maybe they've always wanted to do it in the back of their head, but didn't know how to get started. So that's kind of our market. Like we're not going after some billionaires or multimillionaires. We're going after the average person who has access to an iPhone and wants to get into real estate. So that's kind of our market.
I think that's who you should be going after as well. Like, those are the people who need help understanding how to invest in real estate.
Exactly.
So Yeah.
And-
Okay. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. So yeah, we have a big, strong educational portion of this that Jimmy heads up. He can speak more to that, but teaching what's the best time to invest. What kind of property should you jump in towards? What kind of property should you stay away from? We do we've kind of we learned a lot of lessons along the road. Like also, what modern tools can you use? Or there's a lot of services that use machine learning AI that can help you pick a better house. Or there's a lot of DIY projects that after you buy a house, like you could fix up and ideally flip it for more money. So that's part of our business is to educate users. But to answer your question directly, it can take as little as a few people to be bought out, or it could take we can do much more because there's really
depends on what they're investing, the amount of money.
Here's the thing we also have seen, Juwan, is that people put in a little bit in front, right? Because this is a new model. They may not have known about Cloudcastles before and they don't want to risk too much money. But once they see those monthly payouts, because every month that we have a profit, we make sure to pay you out. That's when the light bulb really clicks that people can have more that they can invest into a particular property. And so we've seen people add second, third, even fourth investments in the same property because it really just depends on how much you want to invest in any one particular property.
Yeah, most definitely. So they can add on to, so let's say I started, I plan to, I already downloaded the app, but I plan to start adding to the account soon. Let's say I add $15. And then I'm like, oh, damn, I got an okay return, right? With $15, it's coming quick every month. Let's say next month I want to throw 1,000. I can do that and just add on to the account.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Yeah, it's like you guys are like your own, like, okay, I keep comparing it to stocks. Obviously, stock and real estate are different and similar in many ways, but you're almost like your own Robinhood, right? Like you're almost like your own app for real estate specifically. That's super cool.
That's right. If Robinhood and Airbnb had a baby, that would be Cloudcastles.
Yeah, I like that. Is in your picture, is that the house that you guys bought? The red house in Lake Tahoe?
That's correct.
That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, man. Lake Tahoe is a gym and we'll talk about it, but you guys found a way to buy a house out there, all cash. We'll get to that in a minute. But I want to talk about how long have you guys been interested in real estate? How did that spark?
Yeah, for me, it was, my dad was actually a contractor for part of my life, and unfortunately he passed away, but he did end up building a house, and that was really one way he was able to provide for my family was building this house and ultimately selling it. So I always used to help help on projects, do a lot of the grunt work, so to speak, of kind of getting this house ready and kind of building it from the ground up. So yeah, real estate's been kind of fundamental to my life and personally my journey. So I've always been interested in it. But I think what really kind of took it to the next level is when you start to evaluate, how do you actually get generational wealth? Jimmy and I were not born into huge wealth funds, but like all the people that I know that are successful, a lot of their portfolio is built up of real estate because it appreciates so much. If you get, especially if you do a lot of the work yourself, which we're doing in our case, you can really maximize the return on it. And it's just such a nice physical good to have. You kind of compare it to crypto, which is a little bit in the ether, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's really nice having a physical good right now in today's day and age.
Do you guys do most of the contracting yourself? Like are you kind of like flipping the houses, or are you buying ready to move in?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. It's basically they're pretty much turnkey. They're pretty much ready to move in. What we try to spend the bulk of the time on is like the interior design or the amenities. Like for example, a hot tub needs to be added, or maybe a movie theater room should be added, or like some really cool art.
Something unique you need a niche in Airbnb. So yeah, like all the cool, something that will attract the people to rent your space, right? And provide maximum income.
Instagrammable comes around a lot as a word. Instagram.
Yeah. I like that. That's super cool. So you guys are tech guys. Do you guys have someone who kind of handles like the financing? Because this seems like it must be very complicated to kind of dish out the investors' portions every month. Like you spending all your time on getting the numbers correct and stuff like that. Is that time consuming? Do you have someone who handles that on the back end?
That's a good question. We do have a team around us, even though it's us two running the business, but we make sure to delegate tasks where we know we need help with.
Yeah.
One of them being legal. You got to have a good legal team behind you, so they help us with getting contracts and then structuring the deals. And then also on the accounting side, we have a great accountant that we work with that we found off Bigger Pockets for anyone that knows about that forum. And they help us with figuring out exactly how much to pay out to our investors every single month.
Okay. How'd you find an accountant on Bigger Pockets? Like in the forums? You just were like, hey,
Exactly. You can find a lot in the forums on Bigger Pockets.
Nah, I love the forums. Like, yeah, you're right. And you can find a lot. And you can learn a lot too. Bigger Pockets obviously is just amazing. I've had a couple of Bigger Pockets people on the podcast, and amazing platform for people interested in real estate. Cool. So Jimmy, how did you get interested in real estate?
I think similar to Brian talking about wealth building strategies. So it's been something that I've had my eye on for years now, but never really had the funds to do it. And then that's where this really resonated with me, because I can understand where a lot of our user base is coming from, where you may want to get into real estate, but if you don't have 50K, 100K, 200K plus to invest, you're kind of out of luck, unfortunately. And so I've had a lot of years just building up knowledge about the industry, from Bigger Pockets to other real estate sites that I've been on. And it was a great timing where Brian reached out and I said, yes, I'd love to help build this with you.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's bad. It's like, it sucks because right now, especially with houses skyrocketing and me being a realtor, I get these people who come in and they're like, yeah, like we really love this house, but it's like just right over our budget. We have to settle for something. And like the fact that a lot of people can't afford houses in California and work a really good job. Most of these people, work in the tech industry in San Francisco and still can't afford California land. That's just, it's
right.
Pretty bad, And so when you create an app or a platform that can kind of help people get a way of passive income, that's just super cool and inspiring to me. So
thank you.
Yeah, of course. Are there any books or podcasts besides Bigger Pockets that kind of motivated you to get started in this? Anything that did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad and was like,
oh yeah, you beat me to it, Juwan. Come on, I was gonna say that.
Everyone says Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, for sure.
Any other books?
Oh, God. Go
Zero
ahead, Brian.
0 to 1 is a good book. Lean Startup is another one. A lot of like kind of The Power of Habit is another good one.
Okay.
So those are some recommend. 0 to 1 I think is really interesting. There's another one, Crossing the Chasm. If you really can kind of get past a lot of boring enterprise software talk and Crossing the Chasm, it's an interesting one. It kind of talks about like how Xerox, grew, and like a lot of these other companies grew by taking kind of different approaches, and like what is the life cycle of a company. And it's like, are you doing kind of like more of a beachhead, like D-Day type invasion? Are you doing kind of like more of a land on the island and kind of like get to know the natives kind of approach?
Yeah.
Like what there's kind of different method. Like he has some great metaphors for where is your life cycle of your business, what you ultimately need to do to get to the next step.
Most definitely. Cool. Well, I want to jump into the Hella Misguided segment, where I ask the same question to everyone who comes up on the podcast. And this question is simple. It is, if you were to write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would you guys say? Jimmy, can you go first?
Yeah, I would say be patient, because you're going to have a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and thinking that you want to go down one career path, but be patient, because life will, as long as you keep working hard, life will present you opportunities that help you succeed. And I can't say enough about always being open to new opportunities and always putting your best foot forward. Because as long as you have a great work ethic and you know where you're going, then you can really succeed. And I'm nowhere near where I want to take myself by the end of this thing we call life. But as long as I have patience, which I'm still practicing at the age of 30, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, no, I suck at patience, and I'll be the first to admit, like, I'm terrible with it. I want everything right now. Like, I'm ready to jump into everything that I like think of just off the bat. So, yeah, that's great advice. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, Jimmy actually took mine. I think that's a really good one. Patience. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. But I would say, yeah, I mean, like, enjoy the process, right? It's like, it's going to be a process. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to, if you're a coder, you're going to have to spend some time kind of, fixing your bad code. If you're, developing the house, you're going to spend some time kind of mapping everything out and making sure everything's going to work out. So I would just say, love the process. Don't stress about anything. It's going to work itself out. One way, it's either going to be a lesson or it's going to be, the right journey for you. So don't stress and kind of take your time with everything is probably the best thing I could say.
Most definitely, most definitely. Cool. All right, well, we're about to spice it up a little bit. I want honest answers from you guys right now. A lot of people say it's super hard to work with family, right? Never work with family, blah, blah, blah. How is it working with friends? Starting a business at that. Can you go into detail about that? Especially because you guys know each other from college. You've seen probably the worst, someone's drunk hanging over the toilet.
Oh, wow.
How is it working with someone that you've kind of built a relationship with over the years and know each other to such an extent? Do you guys get into arguments, disagree on stuff? How do you handle that?
Oh, of course. We're like an old married couple at this point. I'm just like, the joy of working with someone you've known for so long is that there's no awkward conversations because we have that built-in trust where we can be honest with each other. Whereas if you bring in somebody that you don't know and you're just meeting through a business relationship, there are certain things that you may not feel comfortable to say, which could actually be to the detriment of your business. Where with us, we freely talk all the time. There's definitely arguments that are had, and it always comes out positive because we have enough of a trust built up over a decade. So I enjoy working with a friend. I prefer that over a complete stranger, and it's been a great experience thus far.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely second that, Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy's awesome to work with, really good attitude, but I think, knowing each other for a long time, I wouldn't say I started business with all my friends or even most of my friends, just a select few I would start a business with. And you need someone who you can you'll go head to head with, but afterwards, on something that you're both going to debate fiercely about the best way to go. But you need to be able to, after you lock horns for a bit and then like kind of the dust settles, you need to be able to, just have a really good relationship after that. And like, not let that kind of, head butting.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you separate your guys' friendship, long lasting friendship from business? Do you guys ever go out anymore and not talk about cloud castles, bringing it up? Can you just go out and enjoy beers? Or I
don't think that's possible.
so that's
in a good way.
No, yeah. But that's also
possible.
That's also where it kind of sometimes the line, not lines, but that's also where it sometimes can be confusing because now your friendship has turned into more than just a friendship, right? It's a partnership, it's a business. So how can you really enjoy a moment of just having beers out without talking about your business? Because I get it. I want to talk about the business too. Like I'd be like, that's okay, right. You know what I mean? So it's just super hard. And like, I want. It's freezing, Jimmy.
I had a 30-minute time. We talk about you guys.
Jimmy, I think you're freezing.
Jimmy, you're freezing a little bit. You might have to start over.
While he's doing that real quick, I think what Jimmy was going to get at is I was just at his birthday party. So I flew out to California from Miami to go to his birthday party. I don't think he was a busy guy. It was a big party, but I don't think we talked about cloud castles like more than once at all. But, and also you kind of, want to break it down, right? We have our meetings or syncs and we're all business. We're all, gunning to figure out what's right, what's wrong. But then after that, Jimmy and his wife and his newborn son, James, are going to come out to Miami and we'll barbecue and we'll go get some steak or whatever. So I think you have to have like healthy boundaries and kind of know like Jimmy doesn't really work too much on Sundays or whatever, and like that's not a good day to ping him. But during our one-on-one,
I know I tried to do an interview on Sunday. He was like, "Nah, man, nah."
I need their time to de-stress and yeah, I think, and then also Jimmy is really good at putting up with my bullshit. So I think it's just it's just like he's heard it before. So
you need that in friendship and business partners. But yeah, I just, I want to give that to the audience because it is sometimes hard to work with friends, right? Sometimes they don't have the same drive you do. But if you can find a friend who has the same drive, and Brian, obviously you knew that Jimmy had that because you called him when you wanted to create I think it's about finding the same drive and kind of having that balance, right? Someone who will tell you no, like straight up no, and you can take that no from a friend much easier than you can a stranger, right? No, that's great. Where do you see the app going from here?
So we're trying to currently have about 3 doors, a duplex in Miami and a house in California. We're trying to onboard to around 10 this year, 10 castles, and then in the next 3 to 4 years have around 1,000. Afterwards, so we want to get to a point where we have Android, iOS, and a lot of options to choose from, whether you want to be a sunny beach in Hawaii, or you want to be in the mountains, or potentially a different country. That's where we want the business to grow to. And then beyond that, we actually have plans to move more into, our larger mission at hand is to enable anyone to get access to affordable real estate to build wealth. And if you actually look at some of the core issues happening in the housing market, there's a few things, some of which technology will fix, or most of which technology arguably can fix. Some of which are software problems, like how difficult it is to get all the permits to construct a home and that kind of bottleneck process. Also to like the raw technologies and like how do you actually build a home. So ideally we want to take our profit and revenue and roll it over into more of a construction type business where we're doing 3D printing of homes, which we believe is the future, using like cheaper materials and then more automated workforce. So, but right now we're working on just basically getting a lot more investors and a lot more castles on the platform.
Yeah. Are you guys are you gonna have, or if you haven't already, have that sit down like every business starts and go to venture capitalists and ask for funding? Like, are you at that point where you need funding to scale, or are you guys just doing the funding by yourself?
Yeah, so we're I'm not sure if you want to jump in, Jimmy, but
yeah, I can answer this fine. Yeah, there's 2 ways we look at this. The first is that if we do nothing and we keep building great homes and then attracting great investors, we could have a flywheel of our own and do this for as long as humanly possible. The other way that we look at this is that if we want to scale as quickly as possible, then venture capital is a way to throw gasoline on the fire. Now, because we're still early stages here, as we just launched this year, we want to build a foundation where someone can come in and say, I love your business, can I invest, versus us begging for money, like a lot of startups end up having to do because they don't have a solid business model. So we're definitely at the point where we're starting to think about VC funding, but it's not like we necessarily need it, other than the fact that if we want to scale, VC is a great way to do so a lot quicker.
Yeah, you'll just be able to buy the houses. But with a great program like Fly Homes, you're able to do that anyways. So
yes.
Let's talk about that, because I am a realtor with Fly Homes, and I was super ecstatic to hear that's how you guys started your journey in Lake Tahoe. So Fly Homes provides an all cash offer program. They also do a trade up program if you're trying to sell a house and move into a new one. And they offer a guaranteed program. So they are on the side of the people buying, I'd say, as opposed to chasing a commission. How did you guys hear about Fly Homes, and why was it beneficial to you starting Cloud Castles?
I can speak to how we heard, and then I'll let Brian tell his story about buying the Tahoe property.
All right, just keep in mind we have 6 minutes too.
This is true. So no worries. So we heard about it through just being in the startup world, the startup ecosystem, and we found out about this prop tech company that allows people to make all cash offers, which we actually were out a couple of properties, and I'll let Brian finish the rest of the story there.
Yeah, so basically Tahoe is an incredibly competitive market, as most of California, but there's limited inventory, high demand. Lots of reasons why Tahoe is very competitive. So we were putting in multiple offers for, at price, above price with conventional loans. And Fly Homes was able to we kept getting beat out. We kept getting beat out by all cash offers, beat out by higher amounts. So Fly Homes was a huge unlock for us because we could come in and make a very competitive bid in the market. And ultimately the seller got two offers. One was conventional for a little bit more, and one was our offer for all cash via Fly Homes. And they chose our offer because of that.
Yep, absolutely. And that's happening a lot right now. People are choosing the all cash offers, waived contingencies. They want it quick. They want their money now, right? FHA is just not happening anymore right now. No one is accepting houses with that type of lending, which kind of sucks because, a lot of people are trying to do the live in it for a year and rent out the other side, right? The house hacking strategy. And that's just very hard with a 3.5% down right now. So Fly Homes has been pivotal to a lot of people, not just investors, but I mean, every day I'm just, I'm showing these houses and hearing these stories of how the clients are putting in 30 offers in a month and like getting nothing, right? And then they're like, I just had to come to Fly Homes. Like I had no other choice. I'm like, well, how'd you hear about us? We just typed in all cash offer into Google or YouTube, right? Now we're getting huge commercials, which is like, oh my God, we're about to be so busy, but we're speeding up now, but it's just been ridiculous. And month after month, we're just going way over our expected quota, I'd say.
And shout out to your CEO, Tashar, who took
Amazing.
a chance on us because you guys weren't even in the Tahoe market when we reached out. And he actually worked with us, and Wendy as well on your team. So shout out to both of those for helping us get our first cloud castle.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited to be working for Tashar's company because he is like one of the most relaxed CEOs that I've ever kind of just had a conversation with. Like he's just super chill and like super understanding of his employees and really cares about the culture and kind of the mindset of the company. So yeah, that's super cool. Well, I want to end the episode with a segment called Guided Conclusions, where I ask you guys the questions that we haven't talked about before this recording. But my question is really directed towards your guys' company and where the future is headed for you guys. So let's say I have a house and I want to put the house under Cloud Castles. How can I do that? Do you have a program coming in the future for me to get some revenue as a house owner on your platform? I know we only have 3 minutes. That might be hard to answer in 3 minutes. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. So basically, you can definitely onboard your house on the Cloud Castles, not a primary residence because we have to like rent it out to make revenue for our users, but a secondary revenue you can. And we basically have two models, one of which is just the property management model. So we'll come in, we'll do your Airbnb, we'll make sure the property is ready to go, and we charge about a 15% gross revenue fee for that as like a standard property manager. The other model is only 5% fee, but you actually platform the house. So what does that mean? It means you actually will put the house on the platform and you will get bought out by other users, preferably at a margin. So, you might have spent $100,000 to get this house up and going. It's now a rental property. Maybe you list it on Cloud Castles for $150,000. And so you're actually making a margin there and can make more of your revenue back. So absolutely you can onboard houses on the platform and we would work with you through that. You can email Jimmy at cloudcastles.io or myself, Brian, with a Y at cloudcastles.io.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you guys coming up here and taking the time. I know you guys have been extremely busy and you're out in Miami. Hopefully the rain goes away and you can enjoy the weather a little bit. How long are you out there for, Brian?
Till this house is ready, and then we're on to the next one. So hopefully it should be ready in the next month or so. Oh, one more shout out for your user base. If any of you are interested in getting a free share of the Tahoe or Miami property, just give us a 5-star review and send it to myself, Brian, with a Y at cloudcastles.io, and we'll give you free ownership in some of the property. So if you're interested, you could get some of Tahoe or Miami for free.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to sign up very soon. So right now I'm trying to save up to buy my first property.
There you go.
So yeah, that's a hassle out here, but Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys taking the time. Jimmy, thank you for kind of like, setting this up. It's been a couple of weeks, but thank you for kind of streamlining this, and let everyone know where they can contact you both.
You can also find us on cloudcastles.io, and then we also are on Instagram, same handle at cloudcastles.io.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys joining. You heard it here. This is the Misguided Podcast, where we intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. I'm sitting here with Brian and Jimmy of Cloud Castles. Thank you guys.